What's up everyone, and welcome to another Minecraft Bedrock farm tutorial. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Waterfall Farm. I designed this in Bedrock, but it also should work in Java as well. This farm is super duper simple, so I really don't see anything that wouldn't work in Java. So if you're tired of farming your crops by hand, but don't want to deal with a villager automated farm, this one might be for you. You can get tons and tons of wheat or crops at the push of a button. When the dispensers release their water, it will flood the platform, thus harvesting all of your crops and pushing them all down into your collection system. And one of the nice things about this is that the water doesn't destroy the farmland, so you won't need to go back with your hoe and redo all of the farmland before you plant the crops again. And once your crops have made it down into your storage system, you will have to replant your seeds by hand. There is actually a fully automated farm design that uses a villager to plant and harvest your crops, but it's kind of slow and it uses a villager, where this is super duper easy and gives you a ton of crops at the push of a button. Now you may or may not know that Fortune actually works on your crops. It doesn't even damage the tool when used for harvesting. So if you use Fortune to harvest like carrots or potatoes, you will end up getting a ton more than you would if you harvest it by hand. Just as an example, this one row of carrots harvested with Fortune gave me more than 2 stacks of carrots. Whereas if I harvest it by hand without using Fortune, I won't even get a single stack of carrots. So because of this, I would recommend, harvesting your carrots and your potatoes by hand using Fortune. But when it comes to wheat is different. Fortune only affects the amount of seeds that you get from wheat, not the amount of wheat. So anytime that you're trying to get tons of wheat, if you're trying to make hay bales or targets or just a bunch of bread, I would recommend using a waterfall farm, since you don't really need, extra seeds. But without further rambling, let's talk about what you will need to build this farm. You will need 8 hoppers, 4 dispensers, 2 chests, at least 4 buckets of water, and then everything else just depends on how big you make this farm. You can make it as big or as small as you would like to make it. I also recommend using some sort of light blocks like sea lanterns, frog lights, or jack-o'-lanterns, but they're not necessary. You can use any building blocks that you would like to use. The build area for this farm is going to be 12 blocks wide. But as for the height and the depth is totally up to you. It just depends on how big you make this farm. The longer that you make this farm, the taller it will be. Just don't make it longer than simulation distance, so keep it within like 64 blocks. Start off by digging an 8-block wide hole, and then we're going to place a chest next to this hole. You can place the chest anywhere around the hole. It doesn't matter where the chest is, because we're going to place hoppers going into the back of the chest, and then hoppers going into those hoppers. So you can place the chest in the middle if you want to, or on the other side. It really doesn't matter where you place it, as long as you have hoppers going into it, and then hoppers going into the other hoppers. Now we're going to place 8 pieces of dirt diagonally up from those hoppers, and then we're going to count back 7. So 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to fill this in, so this is going to be 8 blocks wide and 7 blocks deep. And then we can build these dirt platforms diagonally up from each other, just as many as we want to, within simulation distance. So make sure the farm isn't more than like 64 blocks long, just to guarantee that it's within simulation distance. Because you want the redstone to activate, from the front all the way to the back. So again, these platforms are 8 wide and 7 deep. So just build as many platforms as you would like. The more platforms, the more wheat that you will produce. And once you get your dirt platforms built, now it's time to add the irrigation. We need a way to hydrate the farmland. So we're going to build a water canal off to each side. Start off by placing a block next to the hoppers, and then we're going to make sure that there is a block in between the dirt platforms right there. And then we're going to place another line of blocks and then make sure that those are connected. And then place another line of 8 blocks and make sure that these are connected. Then go up by 1, place another 8 line of blocks, then make sure these are connected, and so on and so forth. We're building a little canal where the water will be able to flow down the platform. And when you come up to the top, we're going to cap it off like so and build it all the way across. And now we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So this is what you should end up with, like basically a 1-block zigzag, where the dirt platforms are. So again, make sure the 2 dirt platforms are connected, and then build a row of 8 blocks going back, and then go up by 1, make sure the blocks are connected, and then go back by 8 again, and then make sure the dirt platforms are connected, and go back by 8, and just so on and so forth. And of course, depending on how big you make the farm will change how many of these you actually have to make. Another way to think about it is that these are the bottoms of the water canal. So now we're going to build up the sides so that the water can't flow out of the sides. So we're going to place a line of blocks next to the line of blocks that we just got done placing. So we're going to go up by 1, and then over by 8, and then up by 1. And these will basically mirror the dirt platforms. It will be on the same top level as the dirt platforms. All the way back. So now we have this little trench. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to place 8 blocks right here next to the dirt. Then go up by 1 and go 8 back, and then up, and then over. And, again, it's the same level as the dirt. So that when we're finally done, we can place water buckets in these back 2 spaces, and the water should flow all the way down. This is where you double check to make sure all of your platforms and everything is the right size, because the water should flow all the way down like so. And now that we've finished our irrigation canals, we need to cap them off so that none of the crops end up going into the water lines. You can use any blocks to do this, but I do recommend using light source blocks. If you have access to jack-o'-lanterns, sea lanterns, or frog lights, I would recommend placing those here. They will provide maximum light to your crops, as well as keeping mobs from spawning and stuff like that. Now, of course, if you don't have access to these, you can always use torches later on. But, you want to make sure not to pinch the water streams. So you don't want to place blocks there so that it cuts off the water. So we want to make sure that all of these blocks are diagonally up from the dirt and diagonally up from your other platform. And we're going to continue building these until it covers up the entire irrigation canal. Again, just make sure that they aren't placed inside where the water is, because you don't want the water to be pinched. But you'll end up with rows of 8, then going up by 1, and then other rows of 8. So we're going to start off again and place 8 blocks going back, then go up by 1, and then place 7 more going back, and then up by 1, and so on and so forth until we have capped off the entire water stream. And we're actually going to go up by 1 more block, but before we do that, we're going to keep it short so that it's easy to walk around the farm. So just place a single block in the corner of each of these rows. This way, when we go up by 1 more block later, the corners will have an additional block compared to the rest of it. But now on the very back, we're going to place a dispenser in each corner, and then 2 dispensers in the middle, like so. And then we're going to fill in the spaces in between with any blocks that you want to. But again, I recommend using the light source blocks just to keep the light at maximum level. And then we're going to place water buckets into each of the dispensers. So you'll need 4 water buckets for your 4 dispensers. And then we're going to turn around and go to the back so that we can place solid blocks behind the dispensers. This is where you're going to place redstone to activate the dispensers later on. And then we're just going to place a couple blocks on the side so that we have a place to place the redstone. So start off on one of the side dispensers and place redstone going all the way down the side of your irrigation canal, all the way to the front. And we're going to connect this to a button. Now this button can be anywhere you want to. You can build it out if you want to, so it's sticking out a little bit, or you can build it further in where it's going to be more hidden. So it's it just depends on where you want the button. It really doesn't matter. But of course, this button isn't going to power all of the redstone. We're going to need repeaters in here somewhere. So you can either count out 15 redstone dust and then place a repeater, or you can just guess. Usually I don't count out redstone, but if you want to be meticulous, you totally can. But I usually just kind of guess and throw some repeaters in here to make sure that they all activate. And now, of course, we want to test it just to make sure that we placed enough repeaters. So go ahead and push the button to make sure that all 4 dispensers drop their buckets of water, and then we can just press the button again to turn it off. And of course, if we don't build a front section, then the water will just spill out everywhere, and we definitely don't want that. So we're going to place a few blocks along the front just to keep the water from flowing outwards. Now when it comes to the chest, you can't place solid blocks on top of the chest, but you can place glass if you want to, and the chest will still be able to be opened, or you can place upside down stairs. Upside down stairs will also block the water, but will allow you to open the chest. So whether you want to use glass or stairs, it's totally up to you. And we are basically done. All that's left is to go up by 1 more block along the sides and along the back. But before you go up by 1 block along the sides, I recommend going ahead and planting your crops. So you'll need to hoe all your farmland and then plant all your seeds. The reason that I recommend waiting to go up by 1 more block along your sides until you're done planting is just to make it easier for you to get out of the farm. Plus it's always nice to let your farm grow a little bit while you're working. Especially since the crops are going to take a while to grow, it's always nice to have a little bit of work left while you're waiting on the crops. But if we leave it like this and we don't go up by 1 more block and then we go to harvest it, You know, a lot of the crops are going to end up on the walls, and we definitely don't want that. You know, you don't want to have to go through and pick them all up by hand. So all that's left is to go up by one more block on the sides, and then build a way for you to actually get out. So this is where you will need a few ladders, so that you can place the blocks along the sides, and then place the ladders on the inside so that you can actually easily climb out of the farm when you're done planting your seeds each time. And of course, you can place your ladders anywhere that you want to. And technically, you could always jump out of the front. You know, you could make it jumping off the farmland onto the second level of blocks. You know, but I would still recommend placing a ladder up here somewhere. Just because, you know, you don't really want to be jumping around on farmland. You know, you might break it and have to rehoe it. So I would also recommend placing some ladders on the back. But now you are done. The farm is totally finished. Stay tuned where I'll go over a little composter that you can build to get rid of all of your extra seeds. But now, whenever your crops are fully grown, you can just push the button to harvest them all. None of them should get flung out of the farm, and they should all make it down into your collection system. But really quick, if you liked this video, don't forget to like, favorite, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. You know, comments really help out the video, and they make me super duper happy. So even just leave a comment telling me hi, I would appreciate it a lot. As for the rates of the farm, again, it will just depend on how big you made it, but each dirt platform has 56 dirt, which means that at fully grown, it should give you 56 wheat. You know, 1 wheat per dirt block. But you will end up with a bunch of extra seeds. So to get rid of all these extra seeds so they don't take up so much space, I recommend building a little composter next to this machine. Simply place a double chest with a hopper going into it, and then a composter on top of that hopper, with another hopper going into the top of that composter. It might be a little weird to place the top hopper because it always likes to place on the side, but then we're going to place a double chest above that hopper, and that's it. Now you can just throw all of your seeds in here, and it will get turned into bone meal over time. Now if you want to double the speed of the composters, you could always just add a second one. So just place another hopper going into that bottom chest with a composter on top, and then a hopper on top of that underneath the chest. Again, it might be a little awkward to place the hoppers on top of the composters, but once you get it done, now this farm will produce some bone meal as well. But that's all we got for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, share, and subscribe. And leave me a comment. You know, even if it's just to say hi, that really helps out the video, and it makes me super duper happy. If you have any questions or requests, simply talk to me down in the comments, and I will do my best to help you out. And in the video description is a link to my Discord. You can join that Minecraft community to ask me questions about redstone, share pictures of your builds, find players to play with, or really anything Minecraft related that you would like to do. If you're one of my subscribers coming back to watch yet another Minecraft video, thank you so much. It is because of you that I can keep making these videos. We finally passed 1,000 subscribers, so that's super duper awesome. Now I just need the watch hours and I will be able to monetize. That is super duper exciting. We are one step closer. And even if you're not subscribed, thank you so much for being here. Consider subscribing for more redstone tutorials, farm videos, build videos, and more. Really anything Minecraft related that you would like to see, simply talk to me in the comments and I will do my best to get it done just for you. But that's all we got for this video, so until next time, I've been your host, OmLedu, hopefully teaching you a farm trick or two. And reminding you, as always, don't forget to have fun. Bye bye!